So I want to talk a little bit tonight about what's happening in the UK with Tommy Robinson. And, I'll be as transparent as possible because there's two split sides to this. For the most part, you have the people that believe that he was put in jail, that the government is being completely honest with the idea at first that he was prejudicing a case. Then when that didn't stick, that he was in violation of a previous order from the court due to a previous arrest of his. All right, and then the other people believe that that none of that matters, that this is a direct assault on Tommy's freedom of speech. And to be honest, I that's the side that I agree with. That this is a direct assault on the freedom of the speech and the freedom of the press. You shouldn't have to have credentials or have to get approval from the government to be deemed news. All right, any dick with a camera should be able to pick it up and be like, I'm telling the news the way I see it. And then if the people think it's stupid or it's disgusting or despicable or deplorable, fucking toss it off to the side. This case has taken a total turn, though. I was comfortable sitting around and not saying anything, and not, because I don't YouTube. You'll obviously see if you end up on this video that I don't have any videos on YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of people, Sargon over there for you from the UK that might be watching. I watch Sargon, watch Bearing. If I sit here and list them all, it's going to take an eternity. But there's plenty of them that I watch. And so it needs to be known that when you move the man who actively reports on Muslim rape gangs, has constantly been threatened by the Muslim community in the UK, who's been in physical altercations in Italy with a man who threatened him, you're putting the man's life in danger by moving his prison to a prison with a large Muslim population who's already chanting for his death, and an imam is already putting a fatwa on his head and calling for his death. Isn't that great? Isn't that lovely? I'm sure you leftists over there are cheering because you're totally you're totally the non-violent type. You don't go to Sargon of Akkad's events and pull the fire alarm like children, or cry that a university is supposed to be a safe space. No, none of the leftists would ever do anything like that. And I'm sure that they're about to stand up and say that this is dangerous and vile. That it would be totally hypocritical of them if they didn't stand up and say, "Hey, we don't want violence perpetrated on him. We just want justice." No, I'm sure that you guys are totally on board with not putting him in that prison. No, I'm kidding. Obviously you are, because you're despicable. You're disgusting. And this is evidenced time and time again about how your side can commit violence or do things to people that don't agree with you, as long as you call them a Nazi. As long as you put those little words in your news articles, or, far right. That's all you have to put. You see it with Sargon and Bearing. Bearing, who's never made any hint on what his political party is. You call him a far right pundit. And Sargon, who actively says, I'm a classical liberal, you call him far right. It's literally absurd. So we get to Tommy Robinson, who by at least the facet of immigration, he is definitely far right on immigration. His beliefs on the immigration problem with his country is far right. It's one means of taking care of a problem that most sane people see. Regardless of if you agree with his beliefs on solving it, they're valid. He's not saying let's gas the Muslims. He's not saying, let's put them in concentration camps, let's behead them. He's saying, saying that they're a problem, they don't need to be there. That unfettered immigration to your country is causing issues, and it is. Regardless of the reasons behind it, it is. So, I want to say that what I'm seeing in the UK is worrying me even as an American. One, because I'll be seeing you guys soon. I'll be visiting the UK here shortly. Second, is because the crazy feminazi cultural Marxists over here, these little Antifa queers, they all get their school of thought from the far left European school. So Antifa was not started in the United States. This was not something that we just one day invented. As much as Americans like to believe that we've invented everything, unfortunately we didn't invent Antifa. Europe did. So you guys have these crazy lunatics running through the streets, rioting and burning shit to the ground because they didn't get their way. Or some fucking university professor or some guy that went to go speak at a university said some mean things about women and feminists and your allies. Well, that's all been imported over here. Thanks for that, by the way. We really appreciate our college campuses being burnt to the ground by masked lunatics. But what you have is a very dangerous situation. Because even if you hate Tommy Robinson with a burning hot passion, sending him to that prison and getting him killed makes him a martyr. And people that are sitting on the fence and watching this happen, who don't really have an opinion either way or are a little uneducated, will be more inclined to look up who this Tommy Robinson fella is. Why everybody's so upset? Oh, I hear he's got a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll go check out some of his stuff on YouTube. Hey, I actually kind of agree with this guy. You're creating a bigger problem by allowing your government to do this and create a martyr than you are by putting him in jail thinking you're silencing him and thinking that the movement dies with him. It doesn't. Everybody thought the EDL would just go away when he stepped down. It didn't. You know, and it's not going to. None of this stuff is just going to go away. People are always going to have these thoughts and these feelings. You're never going to change opinion. Everybody has one. You are not going to get people to just, everybody's going to conform to our view of society and our pronouns and sexism and feminism and the pay gap. People aren't fucking robots, you lunatics. Everybody has their own ideas, whether you think they're shitty or not, and they will be heard because there are other people that have the same ideas. Getting Tommy Robinson killed for your own sick pleasure is nothing more than a farce, and people are seeing through it. The UK government is putting Tommy Robinson in that prison because they want him to shut up forever. They don't want to have to deal with him anymore. They're tired of United Kingdom politics being polarized and far right figureheads popping up that won't go away, that they can't crush under the boot of the government. And I just want to make this last point before I end this video, and it's that the boot might not be to the back of your neck now. The boot of authority might be on the neck of the far right, or what you consider the far right. And they might be trying to silence them. But what happens when your beliefs don't line up with the government tomorrow? What happens when your side is in Tommy Robinson's shoes and you're looking for allies and people to join your cause, and you're sitting there wondering, well, this is freedom of speech. Why won't anybody help us? And it turns out that you shat on the other side for so long, you can't get people to help you. I know a lot of reasonable people on the right that are always willing to do the right thing. And I know some on the left, but it seems like the left is in this cult where they just can't break away from their side without fear of like being outcast from the rest of the collective. So do yourselves a favor, stand up for what's right, stand up for freedom of speech and the freedom of the press, and take your country back. The government works for you, not the other way around. These people work for you. And even if you dislike Tommy Robinson, you should at least be fighting for him to be in solitary. You should at least have him removed from the general population. If nothing else, if you don't even want to fight with the people on the side that said this man should be free, let him out, then at least fight for him to be able to be there unmolested. And if you don't, you're just as sick as the Nazis you claim to hate. And I have no sympathy for you when the same happens to you.